Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Now you might be looking at the title like, wait a minute, this is not what I was expecting. If you've been here during this whole quarantine time, then you guys know I started a series on my channel where I talk about the downfall of brands and what they could do to be better. So I think on the last one, either the Anastasia or the MAC one, someone commented and said, why don't you do the opposite and talk about the rise of brands, you know, how some of these brands rose to the top of the ladder so quickly. And I was like, you know what, you are right. So if you're watching this video, shout out to you. That's why we're here. So I thought, you know, the brand that I would start this part of the series with would be Colourpop. That would be an interesting one. So if you guys want to hear about the rise of Colourpop and what I think they could do to, you know, stay where they are, then let's go. So Colourpop was founded in 2014 by two sisters, so it is a relatively new brand. It's only 6 years old, and I started my YouTube channel late 2015. I started in October 2015, so 2020 will make it 5 years that I've been doing this. And you know, I posted my first video ever on YouTube, and you know, it did all right. Speaking of that, I don't know if you guys noticed, there's a plaque behind me that YouTube sent me, and it's a little plaque of the first video I ever uploaded. Hold on one second. It's a little plaque of my first video I ever uploaded. It was 12 minutes 45 seconds, and it was, well, this, when they sent it to me, it was 4 years ago, and it only got 4,000 views. There's a reason behind all of this. So it did okay, but at the time I heard people talking about Colourpop, and I had no idea what they were talking about. You know, at that time, you know, like everyone was still, you know, talking about MAC, Anastasia, Beverly Hills, but they were like, Colourpop is this great new brand. So I was like, you know, let me invest in this brand. Let me try it out, see what the hype is. And that was my second video on YouTube. That was my second video on YouTube. Now listen, not too many people can say that their second video that they ever posted on YouTube just took off, but that's what it did. Like, that thing was quickly at 10,000 views, 15,000 views, and especially comparing it to the first video that I uploaded, I was like, what is going on? But looking back at it years later, it makes sense that it had taken off as quickly as it did, because Colourpop lipstick swatches, those videos were bringing in numbers back then. Okay, numbers, especially if you had a skin tone that wasn't that represented, but people who looked like you were looking for swatches of this brand that everyone's talking about, and they couldn't find it. Especially if you had one of those type of skin, it makes sense that the video just took off that quickly. The brand was the talk of the town. They also had their Super Shock eyeshadows, which are bomb years later. Those are probably like one of the best products that they come out with. So people loved it because the product was good. You know, they had the lipsticks, which, feel how you might about the Ultra Mattes. Okay, I like them. The Super Shocks were good, so the products had quality, and most importantly, it was affordable. You know, going back to what I said, at the time, it was MAC lipsticks, Anastasia, Beverly Hills, Dose of Colors, and these are all brands where their lipsticks range from, you know, $16, $17, $18, $19, and then here you get this brand, it's affordable. It seems the product is good, and the products had variety. You know, again, especially at that time, you were seeing some of your first blues, greens, yellows. They had interesting colors in their brand as well. Over time, of course, they start launching new things: eyeshadow palettes, lip liners, foundations, complexion products in general, concealer, bronzer, blush. And here's the thing about new brands, especially ones that are rising so quickly and everyone likes, and this also helps them rise so quickly, is that when new brands launch new categories, people pay attention. Because yes, you know, there were already hundreds of foundations out there, but we didn't have a Colourpop foundation. We had bronzers, but we didn't have a Colourpop bronzer. And that goes for like every new brand that already has some hype. People are tuning in when you're launching new things because they want to see what you're coming with. They want to see if whatever new category you're coming with is going to live up to the hype the rest of the brand already has. So that's also another way that these newer brands stay in everyone's face, because there's curiosity behind those new launches for these brands. Another thing that helps their rise is that they don't heavily rely on influencer marketing, in the sense that you don't see Colourpop sponsorships all up and down your timeline, and you're not getting Colourpop coupon codes shoved down your throat, in the sense that, you know, when I say, you know, heavily pushing codes, I'm sure all I have to say is the word codes, and like a brand or some brands just easily come to mind when you think of creators who use codes and promote those codes to you. So that's what I mean when I say they don't heavily rely on influencer marketing in that sense, because some brands do, and for some brands it works for them. For some brands it does not, but they don't do that. But the way that they utilize influencers works out very well for Colourpop. Of course, they have the influencer collabs, Shayla, Kathleen, Carucci, taking it back in the day, Ellery. You know, so they've got the collabs with these influencers and celebrities. They do celebrities as well. None of them are coming to mind, but I know they do some collabs with celebrities as well. Well, Carucci. And you know, that's targeting a market, because that celebrity, that influencer has their loyal fan base who are going to buy the collabs just because it's a collab with that person. They do these segments on their YouTube channel where they bring on influencers and have swatch parties, and they do a whole bunch of different things with influencers on their YouTube channel. They also do these like these influencer bundle type things where you can get like your favorite influencers' favorite products in a bundle from Colourpop. I know I've seen, and I know Jackie had a weekend with that. I know Princess K, that girl Shay. Like, I've seen a lot of creators get to, they're not necessarily collabs, but partnering with the influencer in that way, again, is targeting those people who are going to feel more inclined on getting it because it's attached to that person's name. Now, whether you like influencers or not, you can't deny that influencer marketing is essential to a lot of business, especially businesses where, you know, they don't have physical stores for you to go shop in, or, you know, and they're fairly new, or they're more so social media based. You know, you say them in the real world, not online, and some people might look at you like, I don't know what that brand is, but you know, you come online and you know, like, a lot of people are going to know who this brand is. Of course, Colourpop has evolved past that, but one of the things that helps them do that is their use of influencer marketing. There's a fly that's getting on my nerves in here. But anyway, so they quickly rose to the top where they are a lot of people's favorite brand. And in such a relatively short amount of time, they have fan pages, especially if you use Facebook for makeup, you know, they've got fan pages. And what's interesting is like so specific fan pages, like Colourpop for Black women, Colourpop for Latinas, Colourpop group for the lipsticks, Colourpop group for the Super Shocks, a Colourpop fan page for swatches, like just dedicated to doing swatches. And they've got them on like all platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm talking about it, I'm realizing like I don't really see that for a lot of other. I'm trying to think if I've seen any other brand that's got like these type of fan pages, and I'm drawing a blank here. So okay, Colourpop, and they also have stands. Okay, stands is when you surpass fan, and now you know, like, you're not about to say nothing about my favorite brand because I'm gonna have to check you. You know, those type of people who won't let you say like anything, even if it is constructive type of criticism. They've got those as well. But there are complaints about Colourpop, and valid ones. So it's like, okay, so now that you're at the top, what do you do so you can stay there, so you don't end up like these other brands I've been talking about in my downfall videos, right? Now, not long after their little slight price change, granted they have had a couple more since then, but I don't know if you guys remembered back like late 2017, early 2018, they increased the price of their lipsticks by like 50 cents. And look, people were acting like Jesus had sent the next flood, okay? Which, not for this video, but one day we're gonna talk about the people who say things like, well, why don't you start your business out with affordable prices, and as time goes on and you build your name, then you can increase to luxury prices. Don't do that, okay? If you're like a future business owner, please don't do that, okay? But not for this video. But not long after that, we saw like a shift with Colourpop, and they started releasing a lot more things in a shorter amount of time. And that might be one of the main criticisms that Colourpop has, that they just release too many things. Okay, I see people saying that it's overwhelming, they can't keep up. It's like, I can't buy everything. But like I said, they've got stands, loyal stands, who feel like I need to buy everything. Now, you guys know on this channel I like to be fair, so to be fair, Does the consumer not have to play their part in being a smart consumer when they're thinking of things they're going to buy? Thinking, you know, why am I buying this? Am I buying it because I need it? How am I going to use it? Is it within my means? Because let's keep it a buck, that's what they want. You know, when they're coming out with everything, they know they've got their loyal fan base, not just this brand, but brands, artists who sell merch or stuff like that. They're thinking, you know, I've got these people who want to always be in the mix. They're always going to want whatever it is I'm coming out with. So an easy way to make a lot more money is to sell a lot more things, and hopefully you'll be the person who's going to buy everything that I come out with. So I get it, you know, I get why people are frustrated, but you also get why the brands are doing it. But for me, it's more of like a PR advertising perspective on the whole it's overwhelming thing. See, my train of thought is, how is any of this memorable? You know, 10 years from now, what footprints have you left behind with any of these collections? Because I throw out Urban Decay, you immediately think, you know, All Nighter, Naked Palettes, the Born to Run, Anastasia Beverly Hills, Modern Renaissance, Soft Glam, insert any of those palettes, Benefit Cosmetics, okay, well, no, the brow, any of the brow products, I guess. The Hoola bronzer. Yes, that's Benefit, right? You know, moving on. Fenty Beauty, there's Pro Filter, there's the setting powder, the Gloss Bomb. You know, things that easily come to mind when you think of these brands. And years from now, you'll still easily think about. But you say Colourpop, and it's almost like so much comes to mind that nothing comes to mind. Like if I had to name the last 5 things Colourpop has released, I know there's a Garden Party palette collection. There's Wild Nothing, that one I remember because I liked the packaging and all of that, but some of the actual collection. The Freckle pen, yeah. Didn't they just come out with stamps? Have they launched another like eyeshadow palette since then? Does the hyaluronic Pretty Fresh foundation count in the last 5? I would literally have to go back and see what the last 5 are. I'm hoping the ones that I just named would be, actually let me just see if I can take a quick look. So I'm on their YouTube page. I see a swatch party for Pop In, I guess it was like a sunflower collection or sunflower themed. Oh, Colourpop Land, yes, there was I saw people talking about getting like a Candyland thing in PR packages. Garden Variety, okay. Wild Nothing, and then the Freckle thing. So like the foundation that they just recently came out with wouldn't even be like considered part of the last 5 things that they came out with, and that's on like the last month, 2 months. And that kind of ties into the next concern I see people have about their stuff, which is quality. Now, Colourpop is known for having quality stuff, but I have seen people say that it could be better. Another thing you see people say is that you get what you pay for. And I feel like you get what you pay for could be taken in 2 different ways. It could be taken in the good way, as in you're getting what you pay for, okay? Here's this. You ever try something and you're like, what? This is only $3? This has the quality that I would expect something that's $36 or $300, but it's only $3? You are getting what you pay for. And then you see people say, well, you get what you pay for it. And the bad way that could be taken is, I mean, like, you paid $3 for it. Why were you expecting $36 quality from it? So those are the 2 ways that it could be taken, and I've seen people say it about Colourpop in both ways. You know, in like the Super Shock ways. Like, how much is that? $6? $7? $8? I'm gonna shoot my shot and say $8. What? These are $8? You are getting what you pay for when you buy those Super Shock shadows. If it's not coming across, I'm a stand for those. I'm a stand for those. Okay, but I've also people say, well, you know, you getting what you pay for when you buy this for them. Like Super Shocks, great. Some eyeshadow palettes, not so much. You know, some of those shimmers in the eyeshadow palettes aren't shimming for me. And you know, with my skin tone, I'd be looking at some of those things like, you can give me like 1 transition shade in this palette, or you know, you couldn't give me like 1 extra bronzer. So it's like when you're releasing all of these things, it's like, can you really give all of them the love and potential that they would have? So to tie those two concerns together, to keep this rise to the top, it's like, maybe, you know, instead of like 6 launches in a month, 2 max, 3, but you're pouring more into them. You know, there's more thought going into them, and they're more cohesive. They're the launches wouldn't be so hit and miss, because I feel like that's what some of them are. It's like really great, everyone's gonna talk about, everyone's gonna love it, and then some things where it's like, what was the train of thought with this one? What were we going for with this one? And the only other thing I see people saying when it comes to Colourpop is representation. A couple months ago, there were 2 creators who go by the name of Neon MUA and Killer King, who started the Colourpop Me Black, Colourpop Me Black, I believe, one of those 2 hashtags. And basically it was like, look, we scroll down your Instagram page and I don't see anyone who looks like me on your page. And it's not like they don't exist, you know, it's not like they're not tagging themselves using your stuff, it's that you don't post them. So they made the hashtag and they were like, look, show out, show up, show out, show that we have a buying power, and Colourpop paid attention to them. You'll notice that you see more of that on their Instagram feed. And I don't think it's just Colourpop. So many brands could be better at that, at posting Black people, at posting people of color, at posting men, at posting acne prone skin, at posting older creators. And it kind of ties into like the other things, the other concerns I was talking about, because it's like, okay, well, if you get a little bit better and a little bit more inclusive with the products that you put out, then it'd be a little bit easier for consumers and creators to turn around and promote you by posting themselves wearing your stuff, which you then could turn around and use that stuff to promote your own products, free, easier advertising for that brand, which would then make you more money. So it's like, it all ties into each other. I'm not sure what don't be clicking for some of these brands, but it's all fairly simple. So maybe just give consumers a little break with some of the launches, you know, put a little bit more into the quality of the products and a little bit more representation, and that's literally it. Okay, do you know how many brands wish that was all it took for their brands to get themselves out of the places that they've put themselves in? You know, some of them need like whole overhauls, a corporate, whole new owners, all of this stuff just because of all of the wrong turns that they took. So it's almost just like, can you imagine if they didn't just do these simple things to remain, you know, one of the top brands that they are out there, and they somehow end up becoming one of those brands years from now that, you know, you don't really hear about as much, people don't care about, don't talk about. It'd be sad, because it really is so simple for the things that they would have to do. So that is it for this video. As always, I hope it was interesting hearing about some of the background of these brands, and, you know, hearing about some of the things that they could do better from a consumer, creator, PR perspective, because there's always things you could do to be better. Make sure to thumbs up, comment, subscribe down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.